All right, welcome back to the show, guys. Welcome back to the show. Let's do this. I hope the audio is okay. I'm not using a headphone right now, so I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on. Also, I'm trying to see if the stream is actually working properly. If it's not, then obviously we're going to have to look into it. Let's have a look and see what's going on. Let's see if this thing is working. Yes, it is. So I see KR here. Also, my brother. Nice to see you. Right. Let's do this, right? So this video is probably due by a month, but it didn't make any difference. Even now, it still doesn't make any difference, and I want to explain this to you guys. But before we go into the BTC and the entire global crypto markets, let's just talk a little bit about the Maya exchange from EGLD, their native exchange. So there was a tweet from the founder himself saying there's a bit of a vulnerability. Now, what I want you guys to understand is operating an exchange, or especially a decentralized exchange running via smart contracts, we could run into problems because somebody else could create another smart contract which could actually cause a bit of a problem for it, or they might be able to, they don't have to necessarily hack it, but they can use another smart contract to kind of use Maya, for example, this particular exchange, to benefit themselves, which may harm others. So sometimes you got to look at the bigger picture. It's like, okay, is this exchange completely down? No, they took it down for maintenance. They announced it to people. They took it down for 7 hours or whatever. They brought it back up again, or they're going to bring it back up again. But ultimately, what you have to understand is if there is a vulnerability that's going to harm you, the user, that needs to be patched. So ultimately, let's see where it goes. But the exchange hasn't gone anywhere. People are dumping, being afraid as usual. So much fear in the market. But for us, when we see fear, we know it's an opportunity. So for us, I would say it's a great opportunity. I will do a little bit of analysis on EGLD, see where it goes for us from there. But I don't think there's much to worry about. It's good that they found the vulnerability. I think anybody operating an exchange knows that the scammers, the bad actors, are always trying to be one step ahead of you, and you've got to constantly plug those holes. Constantly, they're always finding new ways of kind of attacking you, or new ways of taking the funds from users. And worst thing is most of these scammers, they don't even cash out because they can't, because the coins are all trackable or traceable. I see him here. Also, my brother. Nice to see you. So what we'll do is we'll jump onto EGLD just for now. I'm going to jump onto EGLD and then we'll move over to the rest of the stuff, right? So let's do some EGLD here. See where we go from here. Give me a second. So I'm just trying to get EGLD chart out. So there's been so many updates and so many different things that half of my stuff is messed up. By the way, since I last showed you guys these charts, I've done a few modifications on my phone. So this was done on my phone, but I have not touched this particular thing. I'm being honest with you. I have not touched anything here because I don't have to. This is the thing. It's like, what you have to understand is once you start understanding there's a structure in the market, you don't really have to do anything. So I know a lot of people have been talking about how we went from here to all the way here, or it's dumped, like because it is like 90% dump, right? So from the top to here, if you look percentage wise, yeah, it's about 88%, almost 90% dump. And then we had this 6% dump because of this vulnerability that's found. Am I going to be worried? No. Once it's 90% down, I'm not really worried. Has it got potential to go down even further? Yes, absolutely. How far can it go? These are the questions we need to be asking ourselves. So one of the questions I have asked myself, and you can see there's a clean chart. I'll take one thing off because I don't need this. And this is on a weekly, by the way, guys. This is on a weekly. So what we can see is the structure itself. Now, we can see that we've had this great area of support here, right? And we've had this in the past. It's not like we're just testing this area right now. So when people start panicking around here, I'm looking at here and I'm saying, well, hold on, we've been here before. So what are we worried for? It's not like we haven't come here or anything like this. This is new for us. No, we're still here. This is part of the structure. And this greater structure is part of the global cryptocurrency market space as well, because everything else is doing the same thing. I mean, if you look at the total market cap, I believe this is not the one. Sorry, my bad. Let's find the total market cap. Where are we? No, this is Dixie. Actually, let me just get it from here. So, right, actually, no, I'm going to do it on this chart here. Get you Dixie here. EGLD, let's get the total market cap here. So this doesn't make sense to you, right? So you got the total market cap down here. It's the same structure. If you start observing the bigger picture, it's the same thing. In fact, here it's actually worse. So the total market cap is not really doing good because it's fell below this structure. So now it's struggling to get back up. As you can see here, demonstrated clearly, and this is a live chart, you can see it fell below its support line. It's now fighting, and this has become resistance. It's fighting with resistance. What happens when it drops? Well, it can go even further. It can go down here, possibly even come all the way down here. So we can see that there are enough signs here to tell us that we could have an imminent collapse, which will give us this particular area here fairly strong, not as strong as we want it, and then probably even up to here, again, fairly strong, not strong enough. This is definitely the most strongest zone. We can see a lot of traffic in this area. This is the kind of stuff we should be looking at. Right, so we know that, you know, the entire structure itself is collapsed quite a bit. I mean, how many percentage did we drop from the total, from the top to say the lowest point here? The lowest point is 64%. Currently, if we're sitting here, we're still 58% below the previous high. So a lot of people need to actually look at this as well and say, well, hold on, there's something there that we can see that makes more sense. So that's what I'm looking at right now. But let's go back to EGLD. Give me a sec. I don't need any of the notes anymore. Let's go to EGLD. Right. So back to EGLD. Let's have a look and see what's going on. So we can see that we're here right now. So this structure could come down. If this structure does come down, then luckily for us, we do have another area where we can say. So I'm going to call this lucky because we have this particular area here. If you look carefully, this particular zone here, which gives us a little bit of a cushion, right? But remember, when the market collapses, it collapses. All right, there's nothing we could do about this. But however, we can see we have this specific area here, this 4 candles here, where we have this kind of a structure building up, saying that this could be a cushion for us to come back. And this is actually quite good because that then gives us the maximum discount you could have in a coin. If you look at the bottom area, that's 93%. It's not even maximum. Maximum would be 99%, but that gives us approximately 93%, which you can see also is pretty much where it launched. So all of this is telling us that this is a great opportunity. Of course, now you can start, if you want to start dollar cost averaging or anything like this, there's a great opportunity. We can take this and we can start dollar cost averaging and moving forward this way. I'm just going to stay calm. I'm just going to stay patient. Personally, I'm still holding on to my original buy orders, the lows that I've put in, and we're going to move into BTC for this, and you understand what I mean, right? So I'm just holding on to those original buys because for me, nothing else matters right now when I can see that we are struggling around this area here. We are stuck. The global crypto market is also struggling around this particular area. So I've got my target set, you know, and I want to show you a few other bits and bobs as well. So this is an old line we had way back in the days, right? We wanted to break out of this. We broke out of this. But this line can stay where it is and just be adjusted a little bit, right? It can be just adjusted a little bit. And what this is telling us, now our vertical, or you know, our diagonal resistance point that we have is actually down here. So let me just zoom into this just to kind of show you what I mean, right? So we've got this 21 week moving average here. We've got this zone here where we know that, okay, this is the area. So actually I didn't do an area, so let me do an area for you. That will make total sense to you. So you see this area here. So this particular zone here, this is a zone. This is where we need to cross up, and kind of we've got enough confirmation saying, yes, this is definitely the zone we need to break above. The price we need to go above is 34,511, right? On the dot, you can see here, right? This is where we need to go above. There's a very small resistance here, nothing much. It was a small support. We broke through, we fell through, absolutely fine. I know a lot of people are shouting and screaming right now saying, oh, the low's in, the bottom's in. No, the bottom's not in. Okay, you got to understand. Right now, we are still trending down. This is still a downward structure. So if you want to see this, you got to do this, right? So what you're seeing is yes, we've come here. Yes, we've gone up here. But this was a failure. That we failed. And what I'm trying to show you here is, let me just stop this here. We failed the moment we became lower than this point. So as soon as we created a low zone, which was lower than this, here you can see that was a low, and that's a structure that takes us down. So we can only expect this to go down. Now, for this to actually really be confidence and for us to move forward and say, right, this is the market, this is what's going to give us all the information we need. What we need to see is this corner here being invalidated. But if you look at it, it's $48,000. So the only thing we can do now is kind of work with projections. So if that makes sense to you, right? So we know that until 48,000, we don't have the bull market confirmation. We're totally screwed. So what do we do now? Well, we can only do one thing right now, is to say, well, where is the new rejections going to be? And if this rejection was going to come, how far can we go? And we can even do some measurements and say, okay, let's do some measurements and see if the measurements actually help us to give us a rough guidance where we can be. So if we look at this particular zone here, up to this area here, we can see there's been a 44% dump. Okay, fine. We know there's a 44% dump. What if we get a 44% dump here? How low can it take us? That's a bit amazing, isn't it? I mean, just here, for example, this is giving us a $20,000 coin. So we know that the possibilities of whatever we've gone. So when we go up a specific amount, we come down a specific amount. And we've been doing this. This means that potentially we can have another 44%. That could bring us to 20K, right? All of this is absolutely possible. So now when we start looking at the charts and when we start looking at other stuff. So for example, here you can see I've drawn some white lines, some yellow lines here on top of my white lines. So white lines used to be where we had all our buy orders before. And then I've got some new buy orders around these yellow lines, right? So this is a resistance level. And then you've got these supports here. And these are my buy zones. Why? Well, what I'm looking at is I'm going back in time and I'm saying, okay, let's go back in time. I'm going to switch off this. I don't need this. Also, I'm going to switch off all of this. I don't need any of this, by the way. I'm going to switch off everything here, right? So we don't need any of this stuff here. All we need is our lines, nothing else, right? So now I'm looking at the previous time we had a high. The previous high we had was around December. And I'll read the comments, guys. Give me a second. I'm going to read the comments. We had a high here in 2017, right? December 2017. I'm just looking at that point. I'm saying, okay, that is a high. Maybe we don't want to go below this, because once we invalidated that high on the way up, which is here, we created our new bull cycle, our new highs, and we started going to the moon. Great. So we know this is a significant area. It's a, how would I say this? It's one of those emotional areas for all the traders. It's a very emotional area. So a lot of people are going to try and protect this area. However, we also need to understand with logic, when a market starts dumping and when we have a cascading effect, where everyone's trying to be bullish, because remember, the market does the opposite. So when people are going to try and protect this line, we will see a spike. Now, what I mean by a spike is a wick. How far could this wick go? If we've come all the way from $69,000 and we're going to go and to $20,000, for example, I don't see a reason why we can't even test the bottom levels. So what are the bottom levels? We're not going to the bottom. We're talking about the other highs, the 2019 high. That's what we're looking at. So when we start looking at this, we start building this structure and we start saying, okay, now we have a zone, we have an area, we can work with this. So we know that we have a zone here that says this is the area that we could enter. So we have this rough guidance. We say, okay, this is the zone we can enter. So for me, being one of those guys who's always looking to the future, what the future could give me, and always having those buy orders set up, the probabilities are high and only based on probabilities. And about this particular line was drawn over a year ago. So I'm sitting a year ago when we were down here, I'm thinking, we could see this. This is potential. I'm seeing this. I'm going to set up an order for this. And this is exactly what I did, right? So you can see I've got 4 lines set up here. These are my 4 zones. So the idea here is, what I want to do is, if we hit this level, I want to buy, say for example, I'm giving you a rough example. And by the way, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not your financial advice. Obviously do your own research, but this is just my theory on how I believe certain things are going. Also, based on this theory, I'm going to show you some projections and possibly give you even some dates. That's going to freak you out. So what we've got here is this particular zone here. So I'm going to take all of my money, say 100%, say $100, just let's call it $100. I'm going to take 100% of my money and I'm only going to buy about 10 to 20% worth here. So my buy order is 10, 20% of my assets here. I want to put maybe about another 10 to 20% here, right? Because I want to pick those up. What I'm doing is as I go up, like, you know, as I go down, I'm going to have the highest, the most amount on the lowest level. So out of my 100, I want 50% to be here. You know, I want 50% of the assets to be here. I want another 30% to be here. I want at least 20% here, maybe 10% here. So the idea is I want 100%, but I want to do the highest amount at the lowest number, just in case. If it doesn't come, who cares? It doesn't matter, because even here, if I could get one BTC and I could go back up there, I've literally doubled, tripled my money. Think about it that way. This is how you have to think about this. It's a risk. It's a, you know, high risk, high reward. That's how we work, right? Who the hell is calling me? So it's a high risk, high reward game, end of the day. So this is how it works. You have to really, really understand that situations arise. Give me 1 second, guys. My daughter's calling me. Let me just check what she wants. Give me 1 second. So I'm just going to mute the mic for a second. Give me one. All right, guys, sorry about that. No, my daughter wants me to go and pick her up from the school because we got the tube strike today. So I'm not going to make this too long. I will clear it up. I've just messaged her anyway, but let's read through your messages as well. So Mark Pitty, hey man, it's been a while since I've been seen you alive. Screaming kids around me, so I'll have to check later. Keep up the good work, especially looking forward for the looking for the investment entries. Okay, this is what we've done. We've got the entry points there. We've even talked about Mayor as well, not Mayor, EGOD as well. But remember, don't focus too much on the little ones. The little ones will follow the big lot all the time. Keep an eye on Ethereum. Keep an eye on BTC. You know, and ultimately BTC is still leading. So that's something I'm not going to change until it changes, right? So until Ethereum or something else takes over and the market follows that, BTC is still the king. Even to today, BTC is still the king. It's still the most dominant coin in the market. Whatever it does, the market does, right? We know this, and everybody's interested in BTC. That's a fact we need to hold on to. So KR says, should we start DCA-ing? You think DCA-ing? You think a little could? Huh? You think a little could the bottom be in? No, the bottom's not in. Dollar cost averaging into other projects also, or just EGLD? No, other projects as well. But the thing is this, look, if you understand the entire structure of what I'm showing you, imagine this. If BTC could come, right, and this is something you have to understand. BTC was here, and if we come all the way down here, that's an 80%. That's an 80%. BTC just gave you 80%. So what do you think is going to happen to the altcoins, right? So you have your structure ready. You say, okay, maximum. I'm going to, just for the sake of this, right? For the sake of this video, you want to invest $500. Well, maybe dollar cost average $100 here or $100 here. Maybe another $100 here. But have your maximum amount at the bottom so your loss is less. If it comes, you got it. If it doesn't, you don't lose anything. Because when we hit that true bottom, the one I'm calling the true bottom, from that point onwards, basically, you make the most amount of gains. Now, let's talk about true bottom. Okay, let's drop all of this, and I want to show you something. Focus on this particular thing right now. Right. So look at this whole zone here. Right. So we're just looking at this area. You can see this structure here, this pattern here. Now, if you look carefully, you'll see the same structure here, slightly bigger, but the same structure here. So we have this very, very similar structure. I know some people are showing 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. 2014, we didn't even have a bull market. I don't know why the hell people are showing 2014. I've seen all sorts of random stuff. 2018, seriously, we don't need any of that stuff, right? What we need is some real stuff. So what we've done is we want to go and we want to find the real stuff, right? Give me a second. Let's get some real stuff, right? So what we want to do is go and find our, give me a second, bar pattern, right? So we just want to take a bar pattern and we just want to say, okay, this is where we are right now. And this is where we've been to. Right? This is the lowest point we've been to at a particular time from the top, right? So if we just carry this on from the top, and we start looking and seeing, okay, what's the potential here? Sorry, no, this is the wrong one. I want to show you something else. This is not the right one. Give me a second. Right. So what I want to show you is this one, actually. Sorry, my bad. This was something else. So let's do this again, right? So we want to go to the top here and want to bring it to the bottom. Sorry, bottom here. I want the true bottom here, nothing else, just the bottom here. And if I put this on the top, right? So just say this was the top, right? We bring it down here, and this is on a weekly. Remember this is on a weekly, guys. So what we're going to do is we want to see, where does this whole thing lead up to? What is this telling us? Like, you know, what's the angle we've got? And when we start looking at certain things, what we're seeing is this. So this is what I noticed, right? So this is not 100%. Remember, we don't live in the present, in the past, right? Certain things can change, but this is beautiful. What we see is this particular structure here. You know, so we're seeing these structures here. This is 2019. I'm not going to go there. Let's just stay here. This structure here. We see an almost similar structure here. And if I draw the line on it, it will make total sense to you. Sorry, guys. Annoying. Right. So if I draw the line here on the bar pattern, you'll notice that it's almost a similar structure. Almost, I'll just do it here. Almost a similar structure. There's absolutely not too much difference there. So I was looking into this and I was like, okay, so where does this particular structure actually end? You know, where does it end? Where does it start, right? So I'm looking at this and I see this and I'm like, November. Now that's a bit curious, because we did do a video and we talked about how it could potentially start moving back up around September. You know, when we start looking at bar patterns, we can see September's not that far. We're in June, right? And September's only a couple of months away. And we're looking at these areas and we're like, okay, so if this is the case, is it possible that we go like this, we come back here, we test all of this, and we're somewhere around September, we can actually have this breakthrough and start moving back up again? Because September seems to be a very crucial date. I mean, in my case, it was in the beginning. However, now things have changed. Looks more like it could be September, it could be October, it could be November, right? But am I going to change my mind? No, I'm still going to stick to September, because the pattern is so good that I don't think it can go any further than September. I think it could even be August. We could actually see a reversal in August. By the time we have the confirmation, it might be November. So yes, November's not out of the question, right? But things just look so good to me. So what I'm seeing is basically we might come here, we might do a few of these things, we might even come and test here, we might even come back here. It doesn't make a difference. But ultimately, we want the true bottom. And the true bottom could be here, could be here, you know, could be here, for example, could be here, could be here. We don't know. It could be any one of them. But then we want to come back and we want to test. Now, one of the things that you've probably noticed from one of my previous videos that I mentioned before as well, give me a sec. I've mentioned this before as well. And this is a beauty about trend lines. Is trend lines, as they come down, it's less and less resistance. So you got the higher resistance here, lower resistance here. Means you need less money to break these resistance. That's the key here, right? So when we see something like this, if we spend enough time and the price is down and it's low, we only need to spend a very small amount of money to bring the market back up. That's the key here. Right. So, you know, that's the key. As I said, like, you know, you got to really be cautious, really be careful right now. All of the pumps now, yes, we can make money on the pump, right? If you're trading, of course, you're making money on the pump. And of course, you're probably losing money on the dump, or you're doing the reverse. You're making money on a dump and you're losing money on a pump, right? So today, for example, when it started pumping, I just cannot imagine how many people have lost money on the shorts, right? But that's the thing. You're going to do your trade. You have to manage your risk. You have to understand what the market wants to do. Check this out. I know the market's going to go down, and I have not shorted a single time. Even Luna, the other day when I was doing trades on Luna, I longed it. I did not short it. It's a moral obligation. I'm supporting a coin. If it's going to make me money, I want to make money and pump the coin. So this is how I'm playing, even though I know I could have had every single trade, a winning trade from the day when I said the market's going down. And yet I have not. I'm not that guy. I'm not here with a gambling mentality. You know, I want to accumulate more and more coin. You know, I could, like, for example, a lot of people said to me, how did you trade Luna when Luna was shut down? I didn't trade Luna. I'll be honest with you. I traded dollar. I traded my dollar against Luna, the actual pair. And I was still able to trade it. Why not? Right? But you have to observe and understand that, look, there's a greater picture here. Is this a true bottom? No, this is a test. You know, but the question is, has it got a potential to start pumping back up again, right? This is going to be another question as well. A lot of people are going to ask is like, okay, has this got the potential from where we are right now? Let me delete this, right? Give me a sec. Let me delete this and let me delete all of this. Delete all of this, so that would make total sense, right? The question I think a lot of people may ask is, well, have we got a potential right now from where we are right now, exactly where we are? Do we have a potential to go back up again and start testing these areas and start moving back up and invalidating everything? Absolutely, absolutely. But the potential, what you have to understand is that we were down here, say for example here, the pump would have to be a 60% pump for us to actually invalidate anything. Let's be logical here. Right? Let's be logical. I mean, if we talked about complete bottom, so if we start looking from the bottom area and we say, okay, from the bottom, how high do we have to go? Well, from the bottom, it's 66%, a devil's number, 66%, right? Or 67, almost, yeah, 67, 68%. That's how high we need to go. You know, because remember, we're looking at a higher time frame, bigger picture, right? That's what we're looking at. Of course, some people might argue and say, well, why can't we just use this area? Yeah, absolutely fine, 34%. It will be a miracle for us to get a 34% pump on BTC in a week, you know? And it's good if it does, by the way, by all means, if it does. But remember, we have this convergence point here, right? We have this convergence point here where we have the structure here, we have the top here, we have the bottom here, we have this absolute zone here. And this is where everything seems to be meeting up. This is where the crossroads are. Can we cross and move back up or not? I don't think we can, because this is going to be tough. And even this, as you can see, the pump it requires, even from right now, the total pump we will require is going to be a 18% pump, which is fine. Can be done, by the way. 18% in a day, absolutely doable. It's not an issue, right? Remember what I say, my motto, right? Expect a dump after a pump. We expect a pump after a dump. When we see this particular candle start pumping today, after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. So we had 9 weeks of total annihilation, and then we see a positive candle. Are we supposed to be surprised? No. Are we supposed to be excited? Absolutely not. Why? Because this doesn't mean anything. We need this candle to be confirmed. Because remember, what was the previous candle that we had? Right? I mean, I've got to switch off the drawing just to show you. What was the previous candle? That is a super bearish candle. So we had a super bearish candle, and then that bearish candle reversed into a bullish candle. Does it look like it's telling me that the market's reversing? No. This is not even telling, this is telling me we are completely undecided. 1 week we wanted to go down. We wanted to bleed the market down. And the next week we're starting to pump. I think this is a fake out. This is not a breakout. This is a fake out. And I'm just worried and I feel sorry. You know, I have my prayers with the people who are trading right now, feeling that they're actually winning because they're falling for the hype. No. After 10 weeks, if you don't see a green candle, then there's something wrong with the market. You know, whenever we see a dump, after that, if we don't see a green candle, we've got a problem. We've got a problem. Can you imagine this? I mean, you gotta have you know, for example, I think here you're not seeing it properly. Let me bring it back up. I know exactly why you're not seeing it. Here we go. I mean, if you are looking at a chart and you do not see this pattern, you got a problem. You got an absolute problem, right? So that's what you have to look at. That's what I'm looking at anyway. And I'm saying, look, you know, after all of these red candles, if we have some green candles, there's absolutely no harm in that. That's what we want. That's the market structure. You can't have green all the way, you know, like the US dollar chart, or red all the way, like some other charts. You can't have that. It's got to be red and green, red and green. Market has to have the volatility, whether it be 1%, 0.5%, or 10%. It doesn't matter. The volatility is required in order for you to know that this coin is alive. When a coin dies, it's dead. This is not a dead coin. This is a dead coin. All right? This is a dead coin. This is a dead coin. Look. That's a dead coin. That's Lunar Classic, by the way, I just showed you. That's a dead coin. That's not alive. Someone asked me the other day, is it ever going to come back? Well, who knows? Right now, we cannot make a judgment call on Lunar Classic and Lunar. We cannot make that judgment call whether one's going to survive and one's not. There's no guarantee the new Lunar is going to survive. That's why I haven't bought any. I'm still waiting for it to dump even further. Maybe if it goes to $1, I'll pick some up. But the point is there's no guarantee the new Lunar is going to stick around. And there's no guarantee that the old Lunar Classic, is literally going to be gone forever. Guess what? It could be a complete opposite. The old classic Lunar could come back because the community's brought it back. Enough burns happened and whatnot, right? Because it was manipulated, right? Whereas in the new Lunar, what is it? What's the whole purpose of that? Because I haven't seen the new Lunar solve the problem for the old Lunar. That's the problem I've got here. New Lunar hasn't solved the problem of what USDT, the money people lost on USDT, hasn't solved the problem of the old classic Lunar, hasn't solved it. It's just another coin. There's a problem, you know, and that's what I see. I'm just looking at it. I'm saying, well, no, there's definitely some sort of a problem, you know, in the structure, in the market. And, you know, it doesn't, for me, it just doesn't make any sense. When I'm looking at certain things, I'm looking at these higher time frames. I'm like, okay, I need to see good information that says to me, we need to start moving back up again, you know? So yes, I mean, a lot of people have pointed out RSI, stochastic RSI looking super solid. Yes, we are in the perfect buying zone. So KR, your question, if you're talking about DCA, bro, this is screaming DCA, but is it going to go continuously? No, because if you start looking at a higher time frame, let me bring it back on the monthly. So if you're starting to look at it on a higher time frame, what you see is we are bearish. We are still bearish. It is still telling us we got to go down even more. So remember this, on the monthly, this is the total market cap telling us we are bearish. We're going to go down even more. When we start looking at BTC on a monthly, let's see what we're seeing. Exact same thing. You would not be able to tell that this is a BTC chart. And it's telling us the exact same thing. Remember, the blue line has to lead. The blue line has to lead in order for us to be positive. So right now, we know we still got a little bit more bearish action. Once this flips, oh my God, that's what I want to see. Once this flips like this here, these are the times when we make those big moves, right? And we're playing for the big moves. We're not here for the small stuff, right? This is big move. We're talking about when this thing flipped, right? And let's just show you what I mean. When this thing flipped here, you can see this candle here or this candle here. This candle here was a confirmation candle. It flipped. It gave us a pump from here all the way to here, which was 1,885%. I'm just going to leave you with this. I'm going to go pick up my daughter, but I hope all of this makes sense. I hope you understand that, look, there's a lot more going on in the market. Don't fall for the hype. Don't fall for this is why I'm happy to be silent. I'm happy to be off the thing. I'm not here to hype you up. Let's be real, guys. Let's be logical, right? That's all I'm giving you, just a bit of my logic, nothing more. That's what I'm seeing, right? I'm not seeing this market to give me the true bottom yet. I'm seeing a bit of a yo-yo. Yeah, it's fine. It goes up and a down. You know, right now there's a potential it could go up again. Fine. For traders, it's a great thing as long as they're winning trades, right? But if they're not, they're going to get wrecked. They're going to get wrecked. You know, bottom's in, bottom's in. No, bottom's not in. Because if the bottom's in, then this is going to be the shortest bear market we've ever had in history. Right? This is going to be the shortest bear market in history. Because remember, we invalidated the bull market when we went below the 35K. We invalidated it, right? And we've only been here, what, a couple of weeks? Not possible, guys. Not possible, because if you look at the global, the geo politics as well, and the geo financial situations as well, we're expected to be in a recession. The global recession. We're not talking about countrywide. We're talking about global recession coming. All that money printing in the last couple of years didn't help, right? The pandemic, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. One after the other, all these chaos. None of it has helped. Maybe helped a few people warm up their pockets a little bit. Not that they didn't need to. Their pockets were already warm, right? So, you know, but that's how it is, right? So, you know, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. But the point is None of this has helped. And right now, countries are in the brink of having a collapse in the financial systems. There's going to be a big reset. We are going to see that soon. What is it going to be? I don't know. I can talk about it. We can have a complete uncrypto related conversation and talk about this, but that's what I'm seeing. But I'm going to be cautious. I want to be in fiat as much as possible. And a lot of you guys probably know this as well. Last year, I mentioned that I want to be in USD as much as possible. And guess what? By being in USD, I actually ended up getting more pounds for my dollar if I want it. So right now, whenever I need some pounds, I just convert it into from dollars to pounds because I'm getting more. Right? I'm getting more. So it's been worth it. And a dollar for me, I don't know why, I've got this weird feeling that the worst currency in the world is the dollar, technically, for me, right? But it's performing the best against everything else. So yeah, I mean, this CBDC push is coming. We don't know. Again, when we find out, it's going to be too late. But it's good to prepare. It's good to be logical. It's good to take 2 steps back and say, well, hold on, question this. Everything I've said, question me. You know, everything you want to do, question yourself. You know, when you want to buy or sell, whatever, question yourself. Is it the right thing to do? Is this the right way to do it? Question yourself. There's no harm in questioning yourself. You're not harming anyone. And it's good, trust me, over the long run, it's going to be really, really good for you. But other than that, guys, I'm off. I've got to go. So other than that, thank you very much for coming to the show. I'll try and do another one very soon. And I'll notify you guys on Discord, obviously. Also, I want to just drop in some stuff about paradexes. Paradexes, most of the infrastructure part and everything has been all organized. Everything's been done. We're still waiting for some artwork. Once the artwork comes in, we can then put it onto the smart contracts and hopefully launch the platform. So I know we are delayed. Apologies about the delay, but the delay is very good. It's there's a good reason behind it. We'd rather not rush the program or the platform itself and come up with something better. Also, our top developer, he said something the other day where he goes, bro, we're not rushing. We probably get something better. We're probably going to develop something better than what you've even imagined. So the vision I've had, the pictures I've had in my head, what I've given to the developers, they've come back and they're positive and they've said, we're going to probably give you something even bigger, even better. So far, so good. Everything is working, I would say, to plan, if not even better. So just a little bit of patience, just be patient with us. We're not one of those who's going to put a date. I mean, of course, we are going to put a date when we are going to have the official launch, but we're not going to give you a date now, because that's not how you do things. You know, when you're trying to build something, an infrastructure, a platform, there's a lot that has to be looked into. And we don't want to end up like Maya, decentralized exchange, where they've launched last year and they've already had a problem and they had to take it down. We don't want to do that, right? So pray for us. And yeah, I'm going to catch you on another one very soon. Adios, my amigos. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very, very much for coming.